Alright. I just have to warn you ahead of time. I have a lot of information about certain battalions, and yours isn't one of them.
It's not?
So, as much as you want to tell me, I'd be happy to listen. And I do have questions for you.
Okay.
But I don't have specifics on your battalion. So I apologize.
It's all right.
We're rolling. All right. We are here in Houston. It is September 10th. And we are here recording for Mr. Salvador. Go ahead and tell us your name.
Delgado.
Delgado. That's correct. I apologize.
It's a,
My name is Michelle Colvin, and let's just get started. Why don't you go ahead and tell us how you got into the military when you were a kid?
well, I got drafted in 1942 in Pocatello, Idaho. So, I was working out there, and in November of 1942, I got inducted to Fort Douglas, Utah. And then from Fort Douglas, we came to Camp Camel, Kentucky, which is Fort Camel now. So we was there, and then around September, I think, we was on maneuvers by Nashville, Tennessee. After maneuvers, we went to Camp Barkley. That was already 1943. And we was there. All of 494th was there. And from there, we went to, we got shipped out to New York to go overseas, which was in September. I was a newlywed too. And then went to England. And I went to England and was stationed in what they call Titworth Barracks, close to Salisbury, England. Then from there, we went to France. We landed at Le Havre, France. And then from Le Havre, we went to what they call AFA, our first place. And then in December, that's when we first went to combat, in December of 1944. Mm-hmm. So I was there through, till the war ended. We went to, from Lunaville and through, what the heck is the name of that place? Singlen, France. And that's where we lost our first, from 493rd, we lost our first people in, I think it was Singling, France. Then from there on, Colmar, France, and almost all through Germany. When the war ended, we landed in, we was close to the Alps, by Landsberg, where the whole, one of the concentration camps. We just passed there a little bit. That's where we was when the war ended in May. Yeah, and the funny thing, the war ended in, just to us, I seen nobody was emotional or nothing, just happy it was over, but no screaming or hollering like when I seen in the paper, after everybody was so happy naturally, And we saw the war ended, and we was happy because it was ended, but like jumping and all that, no. And everybody was over too, I think. So, but I mean, to celebrate like, you usually celebrate when something like that goes. I can't remember, a little bunch, your your buddies, the squad you're in or whatever. We weren't screaming or hollering or anything like that. So that's where, and then when the war ended, we went to Heidenheim, Germany. That was our last place. Then they started shipping us out, different outfits to come home. I went to the 84th Infantry Division. Then from there to Le Havre, France, which was to come home. I was in a place close to Heidelberg, Germany. And we went to Le Havre, France, and we came home. I got home February the 5th of 1946. That's when I got home. But during the war, there was a lot of guys. I was there. The Camp Camel was just newly. It was a brand new camp, and the 12 Armored was a new outfit too. So I seen a lot of the guys that made it, lived through it. We were together for a long time. From 42 to till 45 when they separated all of us. But we were all together then. But me and my captain my first captain was Captain Divine, and then Captain Mock, he's here too. He was our last captain. Pretty good guys. And we joke about it now because I guess I must have had a chip in my shoulder when I went in the Army. I couldn't take authority, I guess. And it used to make me feel like, I was like a horse, hey, you. And I used to rebel on it, see. So, in my family, there was 13 of us, 10 brothers and 3 sisters. And I'm the oldest. And all of my brothers, they were younger, so I had 2 brothers went in World War II. And the other one's Korea and Vietnam, the youngest ones, see. And all of my brothers come out with ratings, master sergeants and staff sergeants. Me, I came out as a private. We was talking about it yesterday, me and Captain Mock. And he says, you know why, don't you? I said, yeah, I know why. Because I even lost my PFC that they used to give you a PFC after, like, longevity. By Congress, they give you a PFC. I even lost that.
How?
Well, rebellious and not, crazy, I guess. And I was there, from, November of 42 till February 46, almost 4 years. But my brothers used to tease me. Says, God, I bet you was a sat sack in your outfit. And, things like that. Then there's an article in the history book where me and this guy found, they said we did, 7,200 gallons of cognac and champagne. And we came out staggering. That we was plastered. And a brother of mine, Henry, he's dead now. 6 years older. I'm 6 years older than he is. He used to tell my dad, he got wounded and got captured over there. He was with the 8th Infantry Division and the 2nd Infantry Division. He got captured and hit anyway. And he used to tell my dad, Dad, your son, he didn't go fight a war over there. He went over there to get drunk. I said, come on, Henry. He said, Dad, listen, let me read you this. So he'd read that article. It's in the history book. And so let me read you this. So it says Salvador Delgado and Jim Bailey found this. And they come out staggering. So my brother Henry would read it to him. Then he interpreted it to him in Spanish, see. And my dad looked at me and says, you know what? I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it a bit that I went over there just to get drunk. Things like that. So But, you meet a lot of good people. Well, you're so close together that we're like brothers. Something happens to one and, you're there. And then there's some that, you argue with, just like you do in a family. Always arguing. But you meet a lot of good people. And then, a guy, with time you forget a lot of the incidents that happen, You forget about that. And then I guess you try to erase the ugly things. Then you hate to start thinking about it because you get emotional. So, stop there, but funny incidents, you remember all the funny things that you do. I was telling Captain Mock, in Abilene, when we was in Abilene, I guess they'd had trouble before with the Angelos and the Mexican civilians. Abilene, there was the west side, mostly Mexican people, right? Well, it had a sign there, anybody of the only ones that could go there is anyone of Mexican descent. Because before we got there, I forget who was there before, but I read it where they had trouble. Somebody got knifed over there, some soldier, Angelo. So then they had this law that just like this is funny. So me and this guy Seymour Katz, he's Jewish and he's kind of dark complected. And then, Abilene, on the west side, at the Grace Hotel in Abilene, you get a bottle of whiskey for $7 a pint. Can you beat that? Because, Abilene was dry. But then the Mexican side, there was a lot of bootleggers over there. So the first time me and Seymour Katz, I said, he didn't go overseas with us. He got discharged. But I said to Seymour Katz, listen, we'll go down there. And don't even open your mouth, because they know you're not Mexican. You're peaceful, or even the Mexican people, they're scared. Just smile and that. So, and they just given us them little shields that you put on your jacket and your cap and that. So we go in this restaurant in Abilene and ask the lady, "You got anything to drink?" Oh, no, she says, the laws and the MPs and so forth. So I said, well, me and my friend here, we just got out of the hospital. You did? What happened? I'm lying. I said, we got, where'd you get here? I said, Japan, find the Japanese over there. Oh, gosh, she almost cried. I was telling her this funny story. Where'd you get it? Oh, my leg and my back. My friend, too. When'd you get out of the hospital? I said, yesterday. So she hollers at her husband, in Spanish, viejo, viejo, like, oh man. I guess he was a cook. He comes out with an apron, What's wrong? What's wrong? And he said, look at these two soldiers. Them Japanese, she started cussing in Spanish. They hit him and just got out of the hospital. Go get him a bottle. And it wasn't a fifth. It was a quart. I can't remember what kind of whiskey it was. So we started drinking, and then I ordered something to eat, It's a little restaurant. Well, we get through eating, and me and Katz, we almost drank half of it, I think. I'm feeling pretty good, and so is he. All he does is grin, because I told him, don't say a word. So I'm we're ready to leave, so I ask how much. Oh, no, nothing. Then he says to her husband, why don't you give them a full bottle so they can take with them, Sure. So when we got out there, old Cat says, what the heck did you tell them people? She was crying. But see, it's what a guy does, huh? So we thanked him and took our bottle and ate for nothing too. That was one incident, and we had two incidents in Abilene too. The second time, me and Seymour Katz again, and another Mexican guy, Mancha, we're over there in Abilene, and you had to get out of there by tell me when to shut up. We had to get out of there by 11 o'clock, I think, because curfew. So, it's past curfew. We're feeling pretty good. So we're walking, and we see the MPs. Boy, they start coming out. They were in a Jeep. So we jumped 2 or 3 fences, and I seen a fire by a house. And a lot of people around us, so we went in there, And I seen the MPs that went down another street. So they said, what are we going to do here? I said, somebody must be dead here, Sure enough, a lot of Mexican people. They had a fire in the middle. And I said, this is good. I said, because Mexican wakes, they usually serve bread and coffee and sometimes drinks. This is all right. So we went there. And the Mexican people didn't even say hello or nothing. They were all pretty quiet. We went out there and sat there, And I told Katz, if the MPs come back, we go in there. I says, he's Jewish. I said, but you do what you see me do, make the sign of the cross. And so pretty soon we seen the MPs. They stopped. We went out there to see the deceased. It's an old man, see. A lot of ladies were crying. And so I kneeled, and so did Katz and Manchin. We made the sign of the cross for a little while. And I kept looking, and the MPs were still out there waiting for us to come out. So we come out. And the MP says, what are you soldiers doing? The DC has, oh, yeah. It's a friend of my family and all that. Oh. He said, you guys see 2, 3 guys run through here? 2, 3 crazy GIs run through here? I says, no. He said, I swear to God, they ran through here somewhere. And I thought, I hope the heck they don't ask these Mexican people something. They did, so he said, okay. Now you guys be careful and take it easy, We'll find these crazy GIs somewhere. And God, here we stay. We had to stay there, it's all about 11:30 or 12 o'clock. And we had to, because, we didn't dare leave because the curfew. And then you go to jail and you get restricted. You can't go to town no more. So believe it or not, we stayed there all night long. Oh, and then people, I don't know what kind of, I know it's a Mexican wake, Alex, but they didn't serve no coffee, nothing. They were so quiet there, just like statues just sitting there. And Kat kept telling me, well, where's the coffee? I said, I don't know, shut up. So we stayed there, and then the hangover hit us. Cause can you imagine when we got up in the morning? First restaurant we seen out there, boy, coffee. What an adventure, huh? The lies, though, that I was telling this lady, though, she was really crying. She felt sorry for us, them Japanese and all that. When's the war going to end? You want to ask me anything?
Yeah. Would you mind telling us what was your position in the 490?
Oh, I was, first I was the ammunition section, and then I was a cannoneer, with the gun crew. I even forgot my section. 3rd section But in the Army they teach how to do everything. But mostly with the ammunition section, then with the tank, with the gun section.
Was that your choice, or?
No, just, if you want to, they'll ask you first, and we say yes, but if you don't say yes, they'll put you there anyway. So what the? Yeah. But they teach everything. You're a machine gunner at first, and a bazooka man. When I first went in, the Sergeant Tuttle, we didn't have the guns yet. We'd go out on a problem and see a tree trunk. So, okay, that's your machine gun. Stay behind it. And I wanted to be a machine gunner. And I asked Sergeant Tuttle this one time, a machine gun. I said, this number 1, number 2, 3, and 4 of you. I said, how come you have so many guys on a machine gun? Oh, he says to me, a machine gun only lasts in combat. A machine gun don't last too long. I said, take your machine gun. I don't want a machine gunner. That's what he told me. They last too, but because they're after you, a machine gunner. But when he told me that, I said, well, I don't want to be a machine gunner. But they tell you it's not your choice. Tell you're the machine gunner, and that's where you stay. You can't say no on that. But my problem was just the only time I had 3 furloughs. The first one, I was late 5 days. Can you beat that? And my mother was so scared. She just tell me, my dad, mother, they're from old Mexico. And they lived, during the revolution over there, 1910 and that. My mother was so worried. Says, you know what? They used to shoot them in Mexico. I said, Mom, for going AWL, I said, this is the United States. They don't shoot you there. I came home. I was on KP for the officers' mess for a week. So here I get my second furlough. I was late 3 days. The last one, when I married Alexis, who was going to go overseas. This is August. I only had 9 days and a day of grace. So me and Alex got married. And that's when I should have stayed late, So we got married on a Sunday. Monday I was on the train coming back to Berkeley. And I used to think, God, I should stay, but if I don't go back on time, I think I'm a coward. And I don't want to go, because we was going to go overseas, it's all hush-hush. I said, I think I'm a coward. I think I'm afraid. I was afraid, but I didn't want nobody to know that I was afraid or be a coward. No, I got that one on time. I went back on time. I wrote my Captain Mock that he's here now. I sent him a telegram, get married, and asked for an extension. I got one right back, extension denied. I still have the telegram at home. And see, they didn't believe I was getting married. I'd been in AWO before, so they thought, no, this guy's lying. Then in New York, they give us a pass, everybody a pass in New York before we went overseas. And my Sergeant Pyle, our first sergeant, I went out there to give my pass, and he bought me out. He said, now don't you go do what you always do, be late. I wasn't late. I don't know how me and my buddy Frank Wakowicz, I don't see how we got back, but we got back on time. For the same reason, a lot of guys went AWL over there before we went overseas. No, I meant that on time. I said, I don't want to let them know I'm scared. So that's the way it was. Yeah, I was born in Lincoln, Idaho. That's 3 miles northwest of Idaho Falls. See, my dad and mother, they came from old Mexico in 1918. And that's when I was born. So when they come across the border, my mother was expecting me already. And see, my dad, he'd been in the revolution over there. In fact, he got hit, got wounded over there. I still have a picture of him when he was, and then he married my mother, and during World War I, see. So I was born November the 2nd. And we didn't know this till after my dad died. My dad, he tried to enlist in the American Army from World War I, but they wouldn't have him because he come as an immigrant to work out in the fields in Idaho. But we didn't know that till we found some papers where he tried to enlist, and they turned him down. I don't know, because maybe he couldn't talk English, or they knew that the war was just about over. See, just before I was born. So we didn't know that till after he passed away. I found some papers about him, but he tried to enlist, and I don't think he even told my mother. I guess not. So I know when we started going in the Army, I was the first one. Then all my brothers. My dad was happy that we was in the Army, and yet he was unhappy because even his brother, an uncle of mine, he's an old guy. He volunteered to go too. He went. He was in the Aleutian Islands, But my dad, I know he was pretty proud because we was in the Army, all of us. And my mother, she was always worried. My mother said, my dad used to tell us that my mother, every night she'd go out and open the door, and she'd make a blessing, north, south, east, and west. And my dad would tell him, because me and my brother, we was in Europe then. My dad said, Europe ain't that way. I don't care, wherever they are. So maybe her prayers and her blessings, we got to come home. And when you're in danger, I don't know why everybody, first thing first word you say, Mama, I wonder why. Mother, help me. And you ever seen that show, Private Ryan? That's very emotional. Very. I ain't gonna see it no more. And just see that guy and say, Mama, Mama. I remember some of the guys that get hurt used to say that. That was very emotional. Me and Alex, we went to Germany twice. In a row we went to Germany. I showed her a lot of the places we was at, especially after the war. God, we had it made after the war. We was the kings. And then that's why you wonder, you always wonder, like when Russia and the United States were having their problem, when Castro, and I used to tell Alex, I conquered country. God, I gotta rather be dead than be conquered. That was in your mind. I told Alex, if the Russians ever come, I think I'll buy me a machine gun, put it on top of the house, and kill as many as I can, because I know I'm going to die. So, but, I remember about being the conquerors, after the war. Some GIs, they're, naturally mean or they kill their buddies or something. So then, in turn, they take it out on the prisoners or whatever. So, but I took Alex where we was in Germany, and I lived in a castle for, I don't know, they put me in another, two guys. So, see, I got transferred from the 12th to the 84th. That's the ones I came home with, 84th Infantry. And they give us duty to guard a castle so the displaced person, the Polish and the Russians won't loot it. And I thought we had to stand guard there all night. No, heck no, had a big gate, big lock by Heidelberg. We lived there like kings. Gee, it was beautiful. In the summer, and I took Alex there I told him many times I sat out here drunk all the time. Because it was terrible after the war. You didn't know who, the officers that were sending them home, and you was practically on your own. Not exactly, but still. But that was good duty in this castle. That was the best time I ever had. So I took Alex there, and then I took her in Mosbach, Germany, too. Lived in a nice hotel. It's a rest home now. So, it's a lot of changes, though. It's pretty hard to remember. You remember the place, but how do you get there? And did you get a map before you go? But we've seen a lot of the places that in Germany. I haven't been to France yet. So, but it was pretty nice.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience in combat?
Like what?
What combat experiences do you remember? Like at Colmar or Hurlsheim or any of them?
Well, like we was dug in Bischweiler, just a little way from Hurlsheim. They beat the heck out of us there. We lost medics, and in fact, a friend of mine and a friend of Alex, he got killed there, a medic. And we was in Bischweiler, and I remember a guy named, we lost Bolin, he got captured. And who else? Oh, McNaughton. But the day that DeGroot, he's not here. He took Ferran and a bunch of guys into Herlisheim, and they didn't show up, so it's late. And we was in an outpost, you know. I don't know if you know, an outpost is, say you're dug in, have a big hole over here, your friends are in this house. They have you there in case something happens while you're going to alert everybody and start shooting like heck, you know. So we're in this outpost, and we had, we had machine guns. We had a 50, a 30, and hand grenades, bazookas, a lot of firepower, and a radio. And all our friends, Lipinski was the sergeant of the guard. He's here today. And all our friends are in this house, for example. And I remember when DeGroot, we heard a half-track, and we had to use a password or a countersign every hour because the Germans said, get it. So here's DeGroot, and there's nobody, just him. And, you know, we didn't know what the Germans, because the Germans were close. We didn't know if they'd already broke through or not. So we had to be very careful. And I remember we'd take turns going to stop them. The guys in the hole, they're ready. You know, I know, the one that's going to stop him, he's going to get it. That's for sure. So that's why we take turns. So this is my turn. I stopped. It was DeGroot. So I asked DeGroot, where's everybody? He says, I don't know. You know, he's in a daze. I said, where's Ferrand and McNaughton? I don't forget who else. He said, I don't know. I waited and waited. And they're just raising hell up there. And I waited so long. I think they got killed or they got captured. What was it? They got captured, see. And that same night, in the morning, I got relieved. And I went to my, in a basement like. And then pretty soon, they said the Germans broke through. They get out of there, you know. And what happened, some Germans were dressed in American uniforms. And they had a Jeep. The driver, you know, talked good English. And the guy that relieved me, his name was Higuera. He got confused. He stopped the Germans. It was already daylight in the morning. He stopped the Jeep. And these Germans, before, no password or nothing. Higuera didn't ask him for the password. They beat him with a punch and say, the Germans, they're right behind us. Get your people out of here or something. Higuera gets confused. He starts calling and, you know, the Germans. I'll tell you, well, I was ready in 5 minutes. In 2 minutes, I was ready to take off. And it happened. It was, it was a false alarm. The Germans, the Germans dressed in American uniforms. And then Captain Mock, he's here. He checked. Then they found out it was the Germans in the uniform just trying to get everybody confused, and they'd get us. So they caught him about a mile or so. And you know, this is funny. Lipinski, he's here too. Only about 3-4 years ago, he thought it was me that gave that false alarm, see? I said, Bolon, it wasn't me, it was Higuera, because I remember it was Higuera that did it. And then, you know, they beat the heck out of it. We had to get out of there to get replacements and that, because we lost tanks, and medics, and that was our worst time in Herlisheim. To me, that was the worst one. Well, to everybody, too, because we lost a lot of people there. A lot of people. And I remember another time in Colmar, the infantry, they'd been fighting all day by a cemetery. And, the town, well, it's almost ours. And it's getting late, so we're looking for a place to rest. We're supposed to rest, you post your guards. And so we found a place upstairs. And then poor infantry, here comes these infantry guys. They were tired. They've been fighting all day long. They come, they couldn't find a place. It was full of us guys. See, here they've been fighting. Well, we have too, but we're with our tanks and that. But they've been out there in the real action. Oh, they were. I can remember they were so mad. God, here we fight for this cussing, you know. Here we fighting for this town all day long, and then these, what the heck they call this? Oh, they were calling us all kinds of things. Cause oh God, some guys had beds, and you know, in Colmar, friends, some guys had beds, and some of them were sleeping on the floor. And poor GIs, infantry, a squad, and their sergeant was looking for a place for his men, and all the buildings were full of us guys. And that's why he was crying the blues. I don't know what they called us, 4Fs or something like that. But they were mad, because we was coming in with him into Colmar, see? And we've been in Colmar, you know, most of the day too. So it's the town pretty clear. But them dog faces, they've been at it all day long shooting. And here we were in the houses. And I used to pray for his men. Oh, I remember they were mad. Yeah, they were mad, gee.
So what happened after that? You went through Colmar shortly after.
Yeah, Colmar. Where did we go from Colmar? See, I even forget when Colmar was. Well, after that we crossed the Rhine at Worms. You know, close to that first bridge we took. Gee whiz, I can even remember now.
Dillingen?
No, we took Dillingen. That's the Danube. Yeah, that was after we crossed the Rhine. We crossed the Rhine close to oh, golly sakes. The first bridge we took in Germany, the American Army. Yeah, we was there when we went to Germany. We crossed the Rhine we crossed it a few miles from the bridge. Golly sakes. What's the name of that bridge? Lundendorf Bridge. What's the name of the town? It was the first bridge that I think the 9th Armored Division took across the Rhine. And we crossed a few miles south. I think it's where Patton. I have a picture of Patton urinating. Maybe you've seen it. You ever seen that picture? I got a book of him. He said that when he's going to cross, when he crossed the Rhine, he's going to pee on. He did. They showed him. You know, they took a picture of him doing it, and then we crossed the Rhine there. Arnhem? No, it's not Arnhem.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Yeah, that bridge, Lundendorf Bridge, they call it, but when we crossed the Rhine, that was the first bridge they caught intact. You know, the American Army. And they found it was just God sent, you know. So they crossed the Rhine there, the first ones. Then a few days later, it fell. You know, a lot of guys got killed because they were trying to rebuild it. And then they built some of them pontoon bridges, they call it. That's the one we went through. Yeah, the Rhine. Oh, gee whiz. What a brain.
It might come later.
It will.
What, did you have any involvement with the concentration camps?
Oh, Landsberg, yeah. Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
You know what? It's hard to believe that some human beings can be so mean to other humans. Oh, gee whiz. I remember. I was going to eat, and then, you know, but then the camp, so we had to go in the camp. And I remember, gee, I got a picture of one guy. It's in 12 Armored History book. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Have you seen this, a guy like this? he singed, because they set fire to some of them. And when I got there, he was dying already. You know how they, he died. There was a kid, I bet you he was only about 16. His stomach was all, it's nothing but bones. And he was in a day, so I opened a can of sea rations. Then this medic come and hit me in the hand. He's, don't. I start cussing him. I said, what the heck's the matter with you? Gee whiz. He said, hey, calm down. He said, you know what? If he eats that, he'll die. Because his stomach shrunk. And that poor guy, he was... So I said, well, I apologized to the guy. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And, oh, God, they had some... where they slept, they were board the cots and straw. And some couldn't even move, just a week. And then there's a lot of dead ones all over the place. And stink. Because they used to do all they couldn't move. The ones that are there wasn't too many alive. Because the Germans, they shot a lot of them before we got there. They shot a lot of them. And I remember one GI, I don't know if he was an officer or a sergeant, he had about 6 Germans. And they were prisoners of war. He's kicking them in the butt. He grabbed by the neck and showed show them the dead people. See what you guys did? He was mad. So I don't know if he shot him or not, but then they got a lot of civilians to come and look through there when we left. And right after I was going to eat, I couldn't eat. So I remember I wrote Alex a letter and my mother a letter. I says, God, you got to see this place. Terrible. Yeah, we took that camp in Landsberg, by Landsberg. And we went to Germany, we went to Landsberg, but, none of them people would tell us where the camp was. They didn't want to remember, I guess. We asked. They didn't want to. I know it was close to Landsberg, where Hitler made Mein Kampf. You know that book? There's a prison there in Landsberg. And there's where he wrote that book, Mein Kampf, My Destiny. When he was, before he come to, it was in Landsberg. They only have one camp left over there as a museum. Because we went there. Which one is it? In Germany. The one with the sea. We took first time about 12 hours of tapes, And the second time we took some too. But that Landsberg, and I think that wasn't as atrocious as the other one, Buchenwald and them. Because, that's where they burned a lot of people. But Landsberg was bad enough for me. The people that were alive so weak. And before we got there, like I said, the Germans, they machine gunned a whole bunch of them, killed them.
After the war ended, you said that you were there for, about a year after?
After the war ended? About 7 months. Yeah. Yeah, about 7 months. Because I left Germany New Year's Eve of 45. New Year's Eve, and on New Year's Day we was in Camp Philip Morris in Le Havre, France. And in fact, they had a demonstration over there because we've been waiting for a ship to take us home. And we had, I don't know if it was 2 weeks or a week, but all of a sudden the GIs made in that camp. We marched out there to some, I don't know, I can't remember, but we want to come home. It was waiting too long. They were shipping nurses and some from the, what do they call them? So they said, I don't know, but there wasn't enough ships there. Everybody wanted to come home. So we was there 2 weeks. I got home February the 5th. around there. And I know we got into camp New Year's Day of '45, and we was there. Golly sakes, maybe more than 2 weeks. So, yeah. But I stayed in Germany 7 months. See, I didn't have enough points. You had to have 85 points. So I didn't have enough points. We didn't have enough children. We didn't have no children, I mean, enough children.
So what was your position there?
In where?
When you were on...
After the war?
Yeah.
After the war, you mean?
Right.
Well, after the war, they froze ratings, and you could they'd have you doing anything, maybe driving a Jeep, or actually it was good duty. Like right after the war in Heidelberg, in the morning all I had to do was I had a weapons carrier, go get the rations for the company. It took 2-3 hours, and then that's it. Stand guard once in a while. No KP, because Polish and, I was a private. See, I even lost my PFC. But you didn't have to, no kitchen duty. The Polish and Russians and Italians, that been liberated, they had them working in the kitchen. So like I said, I'd go get the rations. And then after that, I lived in that castle. Didn't have to do nothing, just live there. Just stay there and just guarded from the displaced person, so they wouldn't loot it. And this castle had everything. Had I'll tell you how bad we are really. This castle had a beauty shop, a dentist, tools, and I remember I had a big picture, family tree, dukes and archdukes, and a lot of beautiful china, So here they put us there so the Polish and Russians wouldn't loot it. What did we do? Sold wigs, and I don't even know what we did with the dentist tools. The last thing I got rid of was that big picture family tree. And when I went to Germany, I was looking for that, see if they got it back in this castle. And I didn't even sell it for much. I think I got a haircut and some schnapps for it. It was big, golly sake. And here they put us there so the Polish and Russians wouldn't loot it. We got rid of china, wigs, and them dentist tools. I don't know if somebody else must have got rid of them, because I can't remember. But see, that's it's terrible. But that's all. Just live there, and then, like I said, once in a while they'd call on you to drive a lieutenant someplace in a Jeep or something. But stand guard, maybe, I don't know, not too long. Not like was when you're doing the war or in camp. Like I say, you never knew you'd have a lieutenant as your commanding officer, a captain. A week later, he's gone. Either shipped home, so you get a new one. And so, it's too bad that I didn't save this magazine, Life magazine. It showed, it never happened to me, it wasn't that bad, but it showed how bad the Army deteriorated in the war. Maybe you heard about it. It showed GIs like you would on Skid Row, GIs drunk, on the sidewalk. Too bad I didn't say that. Out of uniform and that. Maybe you heard about it. It was bad. Some guys, you'd see a motorcycle belong to a German. I never did that.
Hold on just a minute.
You want Alice to open the door?
Want me to open it?
No, I wanted to.
I'll keep quiet.
Well, did you have much more that you wanted to say, or I apologize for the interruption?
No, it's all right. No, that's about it. And you know, I don't know. I don't think nobody likes to talk about heroic deals. You let somebody else. So that's about it. I came home and got discharged in Fort Douglas, Utah. And that's about it.
And that's where your wife was living at the time?
Yeah, she was with my mother. She originally she's from Fresno, California. She was raised in Montana, but then they moved to California. Yeah, then I started working, then I became a bookkeeper and accounting, so after all my drunken days, my escapades, I should say. I was telling Captain Mock, why did I quit drinking for all that, in the hospitality room, all that booze? And I used to travel a lot too. When after the war, I was affiliated with the Steelworkers Union. I used to like to travel because as soon as I got on the plane, I never did drink scotch. I like scotch, but I don't know, my ego. I get on the plane, I go to meetings like New York and everywhere, for the union. I get on the plane, first thing I'd ask for a scotch on the rocks. I don't know. I guess it felt me like I thought it was a big shot or something.
Funny.
I quit drinking 15 years ago. I'm glad I did. I used to drink quite a bit.
Good for you.
Especially after the war, gee whiz, I get lost. Alex and they couldn't find me. Towards the last, I'd land in Frisco and there's nothing to brag about, so I won't say much about it. That's about it, I think.
Did you want to ask any questions, Jason? Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
And you too, appreciate it. Huh?